Hi, I'm going to show you how to make these F1 Tyre donuts, so let's get started. I'll put a link to the recipe I used in the description, along with where I got the donut molds that I used in this video. I started by setting the oven to 220 degrees and then added in the butter, sugar and vegetable oil and just mixed that until it was well combined. To make sure that everything was fully incorporated, I used a wooden spoon at first just to mash all the butter in, because you can see there's still lumps. But then when the mixture got a bit thinner, I decided to grab a whisk, which just made sure everything was properly mixed. So after whisking for what seems like a very long time, I then cracked in 2 eggs, one-handed egg crack, pretty cool, and then just whisked again until they were all fully incorporated. So for some reason I decided to whisk for a really long time, but the bowl kept on moving and I couldn't see the shot, so I wasn't exactly sure what everyone was seeing. But yeah, then I added in the vanilla extract, baking powder, bicarb of soda and salt, and again whisked until all combined. Then it was time to add in the flour and the milk, and the recipe said to do small parts of each at a time, but every time I'd add in the flour it would get too thick to whisk and I'm not that strong, so I added in milk and flour at the same time just to make sure it was easier. So as you can see, the dough started to get a lot thicker, which is exactly what we want, because you don't want a thin, runny consistency for donuts. The recipe said out of the flour and the milk, make sure that the flour was the last thing that you combined into the mixture, so that's exactly what I'm doing here. At this point, the batter should be quite thick, as you can see what mine looks like. I then wanted to make 2 different flavours, so I separated the mixture into 2, so I could add cocoa powder into one and make chocolate donuts just to see if the glaze would look better on them, because obviously if it's a lighter colour of dough, the black might look more like a grey rather than black. So the dough started to get quite thick and difficult to whisk, so I added in some milk because obviously the powder was thickening it up again and I wanted to keep it the same consistency as the vanilla dough. Now I was just making sure that this was fully combined because as you can see there's still some vanilla on the whisk, but that didn't, I don't know why that didn't bother me at the time because it really bothers me now. But yeah, now we have our two doughs and mixtures and we can get them into the oven ASAP. So I put the dough into a piping bag just to make the whole transferring process a lot easier so I could get more of a donut shape as well, rather than just leave the molds really like messy and gross and overflowing. As you can see, I did mess up on a few of them, but it's fine because I promise they all turned out fine. And then I just did the exact same but with the chocolate donuts. Because of the size of them, I only put them in the oven for about 5 minutes just because I didn't want them to get burnt or too dry. Then when they had finished, they actually looked really good. Apart from the vanilla ones, they looked like bagels. So I just decided to make the rest of the batter chocolate donuts and then made tons of them. Then I forgot to film this part, but I made royal icing for the designs and split it into 5 different bowls so I could have different colours. So I started with the red icing because usually red food colouring doesn't turn red, and so I thought if it didn't work I could just leave it as one of the pinks, but luckily this one actually turned pretty red. So I'll make sure to link all the food colourings in the description below, so don't worry if you're looking for a good red like that one. After mixing the yellow and the red, I decided then to mix pink and blue, just because I thought those would look the nicest on a donut. So I don't actually know why I made so much royal icing, but I didn't know how much I would need. But if you are going to use this recipe, then I do recommend that you maybe half the royal icing recipe, just because you don't want to have so much wastage. So with the glaze, it was already pretty dark, but it wasn't as dark as I'd like it, so I added in more black food colouring. But as you can see as well, it also has a bluish tint to it, which I did not like. I wanted it black, so I added in some yellow food colouring just to cancel out the blue. So I dipped all the donuts into the glaze, but if I showed you that whole process, the video would be about half an hour long. So I'll just show you this one. And I know they look grey, but I promise they're not, but here they are all done. Then I was piping on the Tyre designs with the royal icing, which was actually pretty tricky, but just because of how small the donuts were, I'm sure if I made them bigger it'd be a lot easier. Now doing the lettering for each donut definitely took the longest, just because of how much detail was in each one, and I really did try to be as neat as I can, but obviously even though I used like the thinnest nozzle, it was still really difficult. Here I messed up on the Z, which I find quite funny, but yeah, I just rubbed it out and then went back to work. And here are the red ones all finished, and I'm actually pretty proud of some of them. I didn't do the lettering on a few of them, as you can see, just because I ran out of patience, but yeah, here I am actually doing the lettering of the yellow ones. And just so you can see that it's actually me doing this, by the way, it's not anybody else, it's actually me. I did it all by myself and it took me a long time, but I want to say it was worth it. Then after the yellow ones, I tried to do the white ones, but they completely failed, as you can see, because the nozzle just broke. But it was a brand new day and they were looking great after they had dried a bit. And so I just moved on to the pink and the blue ones, and I'd finished those, so I just let you see me do the one green one that I did because I ran out of green icing. But yeah, here they all are, all the finished ones. And the one green one, and as you can see, the white ones didn't work. And there's a ton of mess, like a ton of icing that just spilt. And yeah, and I ate one as well because I got hungry, but yeah. And here they are. I think they look so freaking cute and I love them. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed and thank you for watching.